guys, welcome back to my channel for the semi-freakout tag, properly named the mid-year freakout tag. I was tagged by Stephanie, aka QWERTY, over on her channel. She reads a lot more than I do, so the original questions that she had were very book-based, like who's your favorite character, which book, yada yada. I've not read that much this year. I have read 27 books, which is more than I expected since it hasn't been a goal for me this year in particular, but that is a combination of audiobooks and Kindle books mostly. So I can answer a few book questions from that tag. I kind of redid some and made it my own thing. Since it is the mid-year, I'm kind of adding this into my update with my goals. So there's gonna be 6 questions on bookish things, 6 more questions kind of on just my goals overall. And if I think of something before I finish this video, I'll add that on at the end. So let's jump right in with question number 1. What was your favorite indie book this year? And hands down, it was Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. This book just made me so happy. It takes a lot for me to want to reread something. And this book in particular, it was pretty short, kind of Regency period with a low romance subplot, but like fantasy and fairies or elves. Was it fairies or elves? I think they were some kind of fae. It was February when we read this, so I don't remember. But it was just refreshing and nice. I loved the main character. She was fun. The characters she interacted with felt really good to me. It was my favorite book this year so far. Or at least my favorite indie, for sure. Question number 2. What was the best sequel that I've read this year as far as indies go? Only read 2 or 3 indie sequels this year. Of those, my favorite was The Bewilderness 2 by Ben Reeves. He released the first book last year. Actually, did he release the second book last year? Book 2 might have just come out earlier this year. I'll put a date on there when I actually look it up. It's kind of like Alice in Wonderland meets, it kind of feels like a detective story in some ways, even though that's not quite what the characters are. It's a very surreal fantasy, and I think it was written beautifully. They're both very short, so I think they're more like novella length. That continuation was very well done, and I'm very much looking forward to the next book. Which was the most disappointing indie this year? Well, this video is actually going to come out in probably a week or 2, and that book was The Savior's Champion by Jenna Moreci, cause boy, I would hate to be a man in her universe. Exposition and stuff I thought was fine, but the characters ended up being trash. If you've got some issues with your story, that's fine. If you got some issues with your grammar, that's fine. If you just write characters that I don't care about but are also terrible human beings, I don't want to read anymore. So check out that review in a couple weeks here. Which book was the most surprising? That was actually our June indie pick, which was No More Black Magic by A.L. Kessler. I did expect a generic YA paranormal romance with just witches and werewolves and a love triangle, just something, you know, a Twilight ripoff kind of thing. And I was pleasantly surprised. The main character actually is a detective in this one. She's a bit more grown up. The romance, you can see it's building up, but it's a slow burn, so we didn't just jump into anything. The world building so far is pretty interesting, and I thought that the way that the plot around the mystery was written and executed was very nice. So that was the most surprising indie this year. Question number 5. What other indies do you plan to read this year? So my goal for the year was just to read 12 indies, which was basically supposed to be one a month because we were picking one each month in our Discord group. Well, it's QWERTY's Discord group. So you can check out her channel and find description and links to that on her page. But I have a bunch on my Kindle that I have purchased prior, as well as I wanted to specifically review some people that I've seen on AuthorTube, just because I want to see what their work is and I want to support them. So 2 that I know I'm going to read this year are The Stolen Kingdom by Bethany Atesta. I don't know if that's how her last name is pronounced exactly. Even though I've been watching her channel forever, I just feel like I've never heard her name. And then the other one is Dead End Drive by Ian Kirkpatrick. I love their reviews so much. And from what I've heard of this story, it sounds like it's gonna be a fun little Miss Marple adventure. Probably like not quite Miss Marple, but I'm up for that. So we'll see. I'm definitely reading those two. And with there being, July through December left, I still have about 6 more, so there'll probably be 8 more in total. Number 6, now this is not about an indie book, but what is my most anticipated release for this year? And that is the next book in this series. The Disney Twisted Tales series. They're all technically standalones because they each focus on a different Disney movie. I anticipated 2 coming out this year. Books 13 and 14, because I read that they were contracted up through 16 and they've been releasing about 2 a year. Now this 13th book, which is almost there, by the newest author in the group, I think it's Farah Roshan, not sure on that pronunciation either. This is the Princess and the Frog retelling, essentially. I thought it was coming out in April, and it is coming out September 6th, so we must wait. And that's kind of all of my bookish and reading questions. So we're going to jump into number 7, which is how has Tower of Dogs been going since its release in January? I'd say better than expected in some ways, because I did not do a lot of marketing intentionally, which is probably especially as an indie author, it's if you don't market, well, you're not going to sell books. I know. Prior to doing this, I was doing graphic novels, so I was in a very different, a similar but a different area of creating and promoting. So I knew what I was doing there, but I had not quite stepped into the novel itself, or the novel writing world itself, which was one part of it. The other part was I knew it was a trilogy, and I didn't necessarily want too much pressure to get the next book out if I wasn't ready. Saying that, I have book 2 scheduled to come out this November because I had basically had its draft done by the book by Tower of Dogs release. So I am writing ahead. That way I can also make sure my storylines and my content is lining up correctly. I wanted to complete the whole series before really diving into marketing, such as making it book trailer, doing all the fun stuff on other social medias, and kind of learning and experimenting with that. So I knew that I wasn't going to sell so much. A lot of my sales have been through personal references, either friends, family, or I guess my somewhat online following. Better than expected. But I know I didn't market, and we're gonna do that later. Number 8, so how is the sequel going? So the sequel, Den of Sparrows, is scheduled to be released on November 12th this year. Currently, I am just finishing up with the beta process and going through their responses. So I'll be doing another round of edits, which will be, I think, officially draft 4 of this book. And then it will go to the editor in August. That'll give me just enough time to tidy up some things with the cover, write a back blurb, do some promotioning things. But I think we're definitely on track for that release. And I have started book 3. I think I'm 20,000 words in, but I don't want to rush it because since it's gonna be wrapping up all of the threads and there's a lot of things going on, it's gonna need a little bit more time, so I'm not putting a release date on that just yet. Probably once I have a first or second draft, I can look at that. So they're going well. Number 9, how is the manga going? For those who are new here, welcome. I used to self-publish my own graphic novels in manga style. There's one right there. I initially had them up on Lulu for printing. They upgraded, things didn't work out, so we left them, and we're reprinting through Amazon right now. And I've also decided to flip them. Almost all of the ones that I had self-published were read in the traditional manga format, which was right to left instead of left to right like an English book. I'm flipping all of them, and the With a Cherry on Top series is done. XYZ as well is done. That's just a standalone. So I'm working on Kuro Kenshin, which is my big baby. Puppies keep bumping my camera. Reprinting Kuro Kenshin is a little bit more than just flipping the page and moving the text around. The first volume in particular I did when I was 15, 16. In any case, it was the first one that I had decided to print and self-publish, so I did not quite understand or even really know about printing quality. So here's a couple of the early pages. I don't know how well it translates on the screen, but the line art itself is kind of grayish almost like a pencil. And I was actually scanning in grayscale. I should have been scanning in black and white. And the other big thing that I did that screwed me over was, even though I put all the tones in and text on Photoshop, I flattened my layers. So it's not as simple as me just going in, adjusting some levels and making it nice and pretty. It's not that. I essentially rescanned all of my original line art and I'm going through more or less the creation period again with cleaning that up, putting in new tones, getting the text in there. The only thing I'm not doing is redrawing the whole thing entirely because I wanted to keep that growth in the art between books 1 and book 7. So it's still gonna technically be my original line art. It's just gonna look prettier. Question number 10, what else have you accomplished? So I had 22 goals of this year, 2022, which was a mistake because some things are goals and some things are like challenges. So what else have I accomplished? I forgot. So just going in order, in January I hit 100,000 words with my draft of Dennis Sparrows and I started around 70. So I had added 30,000 words to that, and then after the editing and stuff for draft 2, the full word count went up to 122. So let's say plus 50,000 words on that. I have designed the cover for Dennis Sparrows. We are working on the publishing process, obviously, with being in edits right now. Like I mentioned with book 3, draft 1, I'm at 21,000 words on that. I did get, with a cherry on top, books 2 and 3 reprinted essentially in January and February. Got chapter 1 done of Kuro Kenshin, nothing else on the further volumes. I have been updating my websites. I've been good about that. Mostly Ko-fi, YouTube, and my original website, halomoonstudios.com. And I have read 10 of my 12 indie books so far. I had a few workout goals on here, which are definitely all still in progress. I have changed my 5K goal like 5 times. Almost gotten 1,000 push-ups in this year. I intended to finish that in June and then I forgot. I have not really run anything faster than an 11-minute mile. I have been able to do a 5-minute plank on my knees and elbows, but I'm still working on like a solid regular plank. So anywho, those are all still in progress. But other stuff that I did finish was I took my certification exam for work and I passed that in June. My mom had asked me to reboot her Going Green cards, illustrations for her environmental program she's working on. I intended to get my second crochet done this month, or at least last month in June, and I overthought it because I wanted to record it. So every time I wanted to start, I was like, no, I have to get a camera out, but I don't want to wear real clothes. Just need to get that one done. But I did finish my Rhino Dino. There's my little girl. Haven't started anything official with the trailer as far as like the animations or the images go. I have the audio that I want. I need to kind of write the script because we're going to have some text on the screen. And I've just been practicing drawing to make my drawings better when I am ready to get to this trailer. And then the last thing on there is getting my mortgage down. I've been making my payments on time, so that is doing its job. And that's another thing, like I didn't need to put that on my 22 goal. We're not doing 23 next year. It ain't happening. I can promise you that right now. Anywho, so that's what I've been able to get done this year so far. A little bit of catch up, updatey thing. Question number 11, what's not been going so great this year? I mean, Kuro Kenshin has taken a bit longer than I thought just because it is a lot of work to go and redo the line art, or not redo the line art, but redo the pages. And I've also just I don't think I've been efficient with my time because I'm getting stuff done, but I feel like I've recently at least been taking a lot of breaks, which I would like to be a bit better at, but we'll figure those details out later. So in general, just being more consistent overall, I think is what we would like to improve on. Number 12, what are you looking forward to in the second part of the year? I'm definitely looking forward to the release of Dennis Sparrows. I have gotten really good feedback on book 2 from my alphas and my betas. The majority have said they enjoyed book 2 more than they enjoyed book 1, so that's like no pressure. Don't freak me out, right? I don't have anything to live up to. So I'm excited about that. Also totally unrelated, but there's a game called Dreamlight Valley coming out in, I think the early access is dropping in September. And it's just like a game where you like save the Disney Kingdom and you make friends with Disney characters, and I need it. So I'm excited about that. I also have a couple ideas for things that I want to add on in the second part of the year. So I've already started doing my Creative Commons, which is a weekly live stream to just let creative people be creative, whether that's drawing or writing or embroidery or crochet or whatever it is. Just a little live stream to come hang out yet. So I'm being consistent with that. I don't know what to expect from it necessarily, but you guys are more than welcome to swing on in. It has been Wednesday evenings 8 to 10. This week's is actually on Thursday. I'm open to changing up days just to see what works for people. I know weekends are a thing, but sometimes I work weekends, so we're trying to figure out a good schedule for that. But I have been doing it, and it has produced some fun art, as you can see here, and here, and here, and here. I'm excited about that, even though it's already going on. And then I do want to kind of start doing just some like vlog-ish, maybe some more health and life updates on my Letters Home playlist. Because I kind of stopped those when I rebranded to Hail Moon Studios. I kind of just miss being able to talk about stuff without it being all about my production stuff, because it puts a lot of pressure for sure. And I just sometimes need to talk about my puppies. I'm pretty sure I covered everything that I needed to. There are a couple of videos coming up pretty soon this month. One of them being the Savior's Champion review. Every week we are still doing Creative Commons. Probably towards the end of the month, once I get a little further into the editing for book 2, there will be another developmental edit for self-edits. Look forward to those videos. Check out some other videos if you're interested. So thank you guys for watching this video. Again, keep an eye out for some upcoming videos if you're interested in those, and I will see you later.